बस कुछ मिनट वेट करें। हम बस कुछ मिनट वेट करेंगे बाकी लोगों को ज्वाइन करने के लिए एंड उसके बाद हम अपना सेशन स्टार्ट करेंगे।
हे दोस्तों, वेलकम टू अपना कम्युनिटी। ये वो जगह है जहां आप अपने असली पोटेंशियल को एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं। देखो, सबके पास स्किल्स होते हैं, पर क्या आपके अंदर वो स्पार्क है जो आपको कामयाबी की ऊंचाइयों तक ले जा सकता है? अगर आप सोच रहे हैं जॉब चेंज करने के लिए लेकिन रेज्यूमे सेलेक्ट नहीं हो रहा, या फिर इंग्लिश में इंटरव्यू देना थोड़ा चैलेंजिंग लग रहा है, तो फिक्र मत कीजिए। यहां हम हैं आपके साथ, आपको सपोर्ट करने के लिए। अपना कम्युनिटी में आपको मिलेगी बेहतरीन कम्युनिटीज जहां आप अपने प्रोफेशनल स्किल्स को सुधार सकते हैं। चाहे आप एक्सेल, टैली, जीएसटी में माहिर बनना चाहें, या फिर आप खुद एक ब्यूटिशियन या डिजाइनर हैं, तो यहां आप अपने काम को शोकेस करके दूसरों को टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स देते हुए आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। अपना कम्युनिटी में आपको मिलेगा मेंटर्स का एक खजाना और बड़े इन्फ्लुएंसर्स का साथ, जो आपको हर कदम पर 1-to-1 गाइड करेंगे। यहां आप ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं अपने फील्ड या इंडस्ट्री स्पेसिफिक ग्रुप्स, जहां आपको ऐसे कई लोग मिलेंगे जिनसे सीख के आप वो गलती ना करें जो वो कर चुके हैं। ऐसे लोगों की जिन्होंने स्टार्ट किया था एज एग्जीक्यूटिव्स एंड आर नाउ सक्सेसफुल मैनेजर्स इन देयर डोमेन्स, जो आपको आगे बढ़ाने में मदद करेगा। यहां आपको मिलेगा वो सही डायरेक्शन जो आपकी करियर को नेक्स्ट लेवल ले जाएगा। तो लेट्स अनलॉक योर पोटेंशियल टुगेदर। अपना कम्युनिटी में ज्वाइन करें और अपने सपनों की ऊंचाइयों तक पहुंचने का सफर शुरू करें।
Hi everyone, very good evening and welcome to everyone who's present here. We'll be starting with our session in the next 1 minute. Uh, in the meantime, quickly let us know which language you're comfortable in. If you're comfortable in Hindi or English, do let us know in the chat. We can keep our session accordingly. Anyone who's present here, you can use the chat to आप हमें अपना preferred language chat में बताइए। अगर आप हिंदी में comfortable है तो आप वो बताइए, अगर आप इंग्लिश में comfortable है तो आप वो बताइए, and accordingly हम उस हिसाब से session को conduct करेंगे। Okay. I think there's a mix of both Hindi and English here. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll get started with our session today. Giving a quick introduction of on why we are here, what we are planning to do. जो हमारा आज का सेशन है, मैं हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों में ही थोड़ा मिक्स करके बात करूंगा ताकि सबको एक बेसिक कॉन्टेक्स्ट मिल जाए। द मेन आइडिया बिहाइंड दिस सेशन, बिहाइंड अपना एक्सक्लूसिव्स, इज टू हेल्प यू इन योर प्रोफेशनल करियर. We conduct this session as a part of Apna Community, which enables you to learn important crucial skills that can help you get better jobs and advance in your career. We cover a wide range of topics starting from interview preparation, spoken English, technical skills, and any other things like that. Today's session is primarily based on technical interviews. So if anyone who's looking to get a job in the tech and IT domain, these interviews will be very crucial for you. And we have with us Manish here, who's an expert in this. He'll be helping us out. He's a software engineer at PayPal, and he will be sharing his expert opinion, his expert guidance to all the users here. So without any further delay, Manish, over to you. Why don't you give a little bit of introduction about yourself and the session, so that others can get started. अगर किसी को भी कुछ भी सवाल पूछना हो, आप चैट का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। आप चैट पे अपने क्वेश्चंस ऐड कीजिए। हम सारे सवालों का जवाब बीच बीच में ब्रेक लेके देंगे। एंड Q&A एक सेशन भी होगा एंड ऑफ द सेमिनार के टाइम पे, तब आप अपनी हैंड रेस करके भी सवालों के जवाब दे सकते हैं, सवालों पूछ सकते हैं, सॉरी। एंड बीच बीच में अगर आपको कुछ भी डाउट आता है, आप चैट या Q&A का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं जो आपको जूम पे मिलेंगे, and you can add your questions, add your doubts there, and we will take them up in some time. Yeah, over to you, Manish. You can start. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll share my screen and then parallelly. So guys, let me know if you are able to see my screen or still not.
Not yet, Manish.
Not yet. I-
If you're using a different device, I think you have to add that also in the call, maybe.
I'm using the same device, but there are multiple screens.
Okay.
Scan browser to screen recording. Okay, I need to give access to the browser itself. Okay, just let me. I'm giving access for the entire screen. Is it? Can you see now? Not?
Not yet.
I'll it would be a bit difficult for me to keep a eye on chat. So everyone, this is Manish over here. So I'll be I have overall 7+ years of experience working in the entire IT industry. And with respect to the mentoring, I have worked with 100+ students on different platforms. And I know the work, what we do on a day-to-day basis. So currently, I am a software engineer at PayPal. So before this, my work experience has been with the companies like Gartner, Dell, Mindtree. So I started my career from 2017, and this has been the trajectory. So here we are basically to discuss more about the technical interviews, which you guys are interested in. So let's get started with that. Just to mention, if you guys have any questions, any issues at any point of time, you can unmute yourself if you want, and then you can ask the questions or raise your hand or put it in the chat. I'll try to handle both of them. Okay.
Yeah,
So if you
Manish, I'll help you out with the questions that are coming in. I'll keep a track of the chat. So if anything, any pauses need to be taken, I'll call that out.
yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. ठीक है, फिर I'll have to just let me bring this up. I'm just resizing the screen so that I will also be able to see the. Okay. Yeah, so whenever we talk about interviews, guys, so mostly every time, even if I interview now, so I feel anxious कि पता नहीं क्या पूछ लेंगे, कैसे होगा. It's very a bit difficult to process the entire process, to process the entire interviews scenario, which is as of now in the industry. If you know, there's a meme or there is something which is said कि the software engineering interviews are actually more tough than the actual job. So it is that kind of a scenario that has been as of now. But let's see, there are a certain ways, certain things which you follow, which you incorporate while doing your preparation. You will be able to handle and gradually progress in the entire interview process. So here we are there to discuss more on that part. So, overview, what we are going to discuss overall in this particular webinar. So, these are the couple of points which I think we should discuss and we should be very familiar with. So, one of the thing is, what are the pillars of the tech interview? So, if you are a fresher or even if you are an experienced professional, okay, the interview format of most of the product-based companies like PayPal or Amazon or Walmart or Oracle will be almost same. Okay, there will be a bit different with the case of if you go for remote jobs या startups, तो उसमें थोड़ी बहुत चीजें इधर उधर होती है. But overall, if you say everything is almost similar. ठीक है. So we'll talk about the different pillars of the tech interview. That's the first thing. देन उसके बाद विल ऑल्सो टॉक अबाउट द प्रिपरेशन स्ट्रैटेजीज की जब हम प्रिपेयर करते हैं तो किन किन चीज़ों पर हम थोड़ा बहुत ध्यान दे सकते हैं. व्हाट आर द थिंग्स दैट नीड अ डेफिनेट काइंड ऑफ अ फोकस. ठीक है. ड्यूरिंग the interview, when we are actually in the interview, so what is expected, what the interviewer is looking for, ठीक है, कि क्या क्या highlights होते हैं जो interviewer look for, because I also take interviews for my company and for the other platforms as well. So I know what is required and what do we look for. Okay, so we'll share you those little bit of secrets or the tips as well, and then we'll go with the Q&A, and if any common interview questions you guys want to ask or anything, so we'll go with all those flow. Okay, sounds good. Everybody is on the page. Any question, Dipanjan, with anyone?
Yeah, we have a couple of questions to start with. One is regarding the approach, right? So, how do you approach the tech interview for a data analyst role, and which topics we should cover as a fresher?
Okay, so data analyst role will be a bit different. I'll cover that by the end of that, by the end of our webinar. And apart from that, any other question?
Yeah, yeah. So there's also like they've asked for tips regarding the resume format and also on DSA preparation.
Okay, so DSA preparation is something which we will cover in
Okay.
the session, and
Okay.
resume also I'll talk about it as
Yeah,
we
I
progress.
think DSA is a common question because there's someone who wants to he's preparing for web development for 1 year, but DSA is issue for him. So which companies he should target is a question for him.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let me go through a couple of slides. So probably the questions will be covered. And then if you guys have more questions, then we have a dedicated Q&A in which I'll answer all your questions. I hope that works, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Chalo. So when we talk about, the pillars of the tech interview, which has been from so many years, even I believe when I started my career until now, like I've seen for the 7 years, the process and the pattern is mostly same. There are only three pillars on which most of the big techs or even most of the companies as of now look into. The first thing is the coding, second is the design, and third is the behavioral and your communication skills. Okay, so what do we mean when we look for a coding? So coding is not only that you can write some code and just do get done with it. No, that's not something which we just look for. In coding, when I talk about, so we look for how comfortable you are with the code. Okay, this word comfortable is very important for here, because the scenario is, if we are talking in like English or Hindi or any other language. Okay, so if I ask you to summarize our entire webinar in one of your languages like English or Hindi, you will be able to do it comfortably without having that ick, without feeling that resistance of how to write it. Why? Because you have already written a lot of essays, letters, and so many things. You have done a lot of practice before. So you don't feel any resistance in your mind and in your hand. You can easily write it down. But what happens, what I see when I interview for most of the candidates, folks will be able to explain. But when it comes to writing the piece of code, I see the resistance, I see the struggle. And if that is there in any of the candidate, it's kind of a red flag. So we will not go with those candidates. So proficiency in any programming language, and here we are not talking about you should be very good with Python or Java or C++. It does not matter. Pick any particular language, make it so comfortable so that even you can write code whenever you are sleeping. Okay, that is the kind of comfort we are looking for. The second part is to have a understanding about design. So this is something which freshers generally contradict, that how do we know how will uh, how to build a scalable and efficient system, how to build a robust system. So for you guys, when we talk about freshers, it's not necessary that you will be familiar with everything, but what is expected, you should understand about the intricacies of a distributed system or any system. Ki, acha, with the point of architecture, what are the different components in a given system? What is a database? What are the load balancer? What are the servers? What is the client? Okay, on a very high level, at least you should understand that. Then the last part is the behavioral and the communication skills. So this is almost, I feel, the most neglected part when anyone does the interview prep. But most of the rejections which happen, like the percentage is less, but many of the times I have seen this, that folks who are really good with the coding, who are really good with the design, got rejected in the behavioral because of attitude issues, because they were not able to explain what they were thinking. They were not a team player. So the combination of all the three always works. If you will skip any of the in the entire three, anything ki chalo yaar coding kar lete hain, theek hai, behavioral खराब भी हुआ तो क्या दिक्कत है, you will not be able to clear all the rounds, because the entire rounds have also been structured in a way that it will test your problem solving skills, it will test your technical proficiency, it will test your system design knowledge, your architectural thinking, it will see your behavioral competency, and how good are you with the communication. So everything needs to be in sync, then you will be able to move ahead. That is the expectation in the current scenario as well. So let's deep dive into each of the segments to understand it better. So if I talk about, the coding preparation. So the entire coding preparation, if any of the fresher or even the working professionals, they look for, so they start grinding the data structures, algorithms. That is the uh, bare minimum that anybody starts with it, and just try to solve or watch YouTube videos, and they feel that by watching YouTube videos, you are learning the concepts and everything. But that is not the reality. I've even I'm telling you from my personal experience. I last time I interviewed a girl. She had done around 1300 lead code problems, but she was not able to code a binary search problem. What was the issue? The issue was she was only comfortable, or her process of solving the question was only limited to that lead code problem. If I just tweak that problem and make it in a way कि वो direct lead code problem नहीं है, but थोड़ा सा उलझा हुआ है. She was not able to figure it out कि क्या करना है इसमें, कैसे करना है. Although you know things, but कभी ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि यार this is if served straightforward, then only I'll be able to crack it. क्योंकि in the real world, जब you start working in a really product based company, and there you will not be given a lead code problem. वहां पर product वाले challenges आते हैं, which is not very straightforward. You have to figure out what has to be done, and then you will go and find the approach, and then you will go ahead and do the code. So that is one of the myth which you should not approach data structures algorithm by just doing lead code. So how and what should be the approach and how it should be done? Okay, so generally if we see, when you start with the coding preparation, the first thing is you should brush up your fundamentals. Fundamentals is the key, as I mentioned in the last slide, right? You should be very much comfortable with any of the programming language proficiency really matters over here. You can choose Python, you can choose JavaScript, you can choose Java. You have to understand the syntaxes. What are the basic syntaxes? What are the standard libraries that will help you? Okay, because you will not be able to write everything, every piece of code on your own in the interview. So you should be familiar with the popular, like for example, in Java, you have the collections library. Okay, in C++, you have the STL library. So you should understand those libraries. You should be very much comfortable with the syntaxes, and then practice the programming. So the first step is to know in and out of the syntax and practice programming. So here, when I say practice programming, I don't want you go directly on the lead code and start solving problems. You should do couple of terminal based application projects. Like you can create a basic to do application, you can create a calculator application, you can make similar such small application which can be just run on your terminal. What it helps you is, it gives you an understanding ki now you are comfortable with the basic syntaxes, you are good with the basic data structures like array list, or a map or dictionary or set, the very basics. And if you have done this part, the entire this exercise, if you have completed, then you are ready to move to the next bucket, which is algorithms, which is the favorite topic of everyone, I feel, in the webinar: data structures and algorithms. So when it comes to data structures and algorithms, the approach matters a lot than the actual code. So what is generally looked for in an interview is how you are approaching the given problem. So what most of the candidates do mistake is they will have some problem memorized. So probably some popular problem like island problem of a graph, or a two-sum problem or something. There are so many problems. So they remember the exact algorithm, the exact code. And even if you change the problem statement in a slight way, you will be in a disaster state. So that should not happen. So the first thing is you should understand what are the basic, the core algorithms that are out there. So there are two ways in which you can approach and practice the data structures and algorithms. The lead code style problem I'm talking about. Okay. So in this scenario, the first approach is you have to go breadth-wise. So by what do I mean by breadth-wise is that on a very high level, just try to do 3 to 5 easy problems. Okay, go and put a filter on the on your lead code, easy, sorted by on the highest acceptance rate, so that you get the most easy problems, and then try to do 3 to 5 problems on every topic. Like you can do 5 problems on array, then move ahead and do 5 problems on linked list, then do 5 problems on queues and stack, and then gradually you can cover all the topics. So by this way you will do somewhere around 50 to 100 problems, it depends for you. And what will happen at this scenario, you have just covered all the data structures on a very high level. Okay, and you have just solved the most easiest problem that could be ever there on the lead code. Now, solving these problems definitely won't help you to clear any of the tech interviews. But what it does is it helps you boost your confidence. So, in the first place, when you would have read about graph or trees, you would be scared कि यार ये पता नहीं क्या ही चीज है, कुछ अनोखी चीज है, graph पता ही नहीं क्या होता है. So now that fear has been terminated. अब तुम्हें पता है कि हाँ, this is something which is graph, it has some nodes, this is something which is a tree, this is how we have to traverse a tree. So the first part is done for you. Okay, now you move to the next part, which is the depth. Now you can pick one topic. For example, you have picked binary search, now you get deep dive into it. उसमें जाकर के 10-20 problems किए, ठीक है, and then you move ahead with all the different topics. Now the third part is जो सबसे ज्यादा neglected होता है. What folks do is they'll sit one day, एक दिन बहुत motivation है, they'll solve 10 problems, एक हफ्ता कुछ भी नहीं किया. That is the worst thing you can ever do. So for data structures and algorithms, it's pure maths. Okay, just the thing is you have to code it in any of your language. So consistent practice is the key over here. अब what does it mean कि consistent practice? कि daily problem solve करो. ठीक है, even if you can do 1 problem a day, but you have to do it. 2 problem a day, do it. Make it a habit. ठीक है. This will help you improve your speed. It will help you improve your accuracy. Consistency बनेगी. You will get and become more confident. Now the thing is कि कैसे करें? We generally miss it. Start to track it. ठीक है, you can have an Excel sheet, वहां पर track करते जाओ कि अच्छा on 1st of the month I have done. ठीक है, उसमें अपने हिसाब से filters लगाओ कि do you need to revisit this problem? क्या ये problem बहुत difficult था तुमसे first time में नहीं हुआ? Keep a date attached to it. कि ठीक है, this is the date I solved the problem first over here and I was able to solve. Make it green. Try to play around it. Do color coding and everything. There are so many videos on YouTube and everything which you can refer of how to study, how to revise, all of those things. So consistent practice is the key. And then this and last part is mocks and challenges. So even you have practiced a lot, you have done and covered all the data structures, you have covered all the algorithms, everything. If you have not given a mock interview, if you have not participated in online contests, online challenges, you will be very uh, you'll not be able to guess because the feedback is missing over here. Unless and until you participate in mock interview, you don't know how you are performing in a timed situation, because in a interview, it will be of 45 minutes to 1 hour. And the way you code, the way you explain in a timed scenario of 40-45 minutes, and the other way where you are sitting in your chair and you are chilling out with music and everything, and then you're solving the problem. Both are two different scenarios. So try to engage in mock interviews. So how to do mock interviews? You can ask your friend or somebody, some senior, if you wish to. Or now there are so many platforms where you can just go and register for mock. You can have a mentor. There are so many facilities available these days. You can participate in the lead code weekly challenges and the bi-weekly challenges. At least it will give you an idea ki how well you are performing, right? So these are the couple of points which you have to consider when you are going to prepare for the coding preparation. Now let's move to the next one. The second part is the design preparation, which is probably I think one of the important thing you should do, because data structures algorithms is the basic, to be honest. But what you do in day-to-day engineering while at work is this, where you write code according to the design. Okay, probably if you're a fresher, you will not be involved with the system design and everything, but the design patterns, the object oriented programming, the basic core principles you should be very good at. So, what do I mean by the basic core principles? Like the inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction. Okay, these are the crucial concepts when we talk about designing any object oriented programming, any class you design. Okay, how to design a class, what are the methods that are going to be there, how we can make sure that it follows the solid principles, everything. Then the second part is design patterns. So at least, like, if you will see, there are 20 to 21 design patterns overall. So the thing is ki how to remember these 21 design patterns. It's really tough. But the catch is you don't have to remember the design patterns. You just have to visit them once. Ki, Acha, this is something which is a strategy pattern. This is something which is a singleton design pattern. At least get familiar with 8 to 10 popular design patterns. Okay, so that you have a decent enough understanding कि अच्छा these are the design patterns जो थोड़े popular हैं, day to day use भी होते हैं. And then whenever you encounter a situation in your work or probably in a given problem statement, then you go and refer it कि अच्छा what is a design pattern for this. Now, the thing is कि folks don't understand what is a design pattern in the first place. So design pattern क्या है? कुछ अनोखा तो है नहीं, एक blueprint है कि देखो अगर ये प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट ऐसा है तो जस्ट फॉलो दीज स्टेप्स एंड इट विल बी इजी. अब ये किसने बनाया? तो आई थिंक 15-20 years बैक देयर वर 4 folks जिन्होंने गैंग ऑफ 4 की बुक भी लिखी है. सो दे केम आउट कि सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग के अंदर मोस्ट ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम्स जो हम सॉल्व करते हैं उसके लिए हर बार नया सॉल्यूशन इन्वेंट करना जरूरत नहीं है. वी ऑलरेडी हैव समथिंग इन प्लेस. बस उन्होंने उसको कैटेगराइज कर दिया कि अच्छा दीज आर ऑन अ वेरी ब्रॉड लेवल, वी विल हैव 3 पैटर्न्स और उसके अंदर मल्टीपल डिजाइन पैटर्न्स होंगे. एंड दैट्स हाउ दे केप्ट इट. एंड इट बिकम्स वेरी इजी क्योंकि पता है कि अच्छा अगर स्ट्रैटेजी है तो दिस इज हाउ वी विल प्रोग्रेस, ऐसे क्लासेस बनाएंगे, इंटरफेसेस बनाएंगे, एंड दिस हाउ वी विल go ahead with it. So having this knowledge of design patterns give you an extra boost, to be honest. And as you age in your career, this will be very, very important for your interviews as well as for your day-to-day work. Now, the third part is the system design. Okay, so as I mentioned, if you are a fresher, it's not very much expected कि तुम्हें सब पता होना चाहिए, ठीक है? But on a very high level, कि if you like for example you are working in your college and college का final year project करते हो, ठीक है? You decided to make some bookmark application or anything. Now, what if you want to turn that college project into a big application जो कि millions of users use कर पा रहे हो? How will you approach that? कि पहले probably you will be having your client and server and database everything in your laptop, right? But as the number of customers start to interact with your application, तो you will reach the capacity of your laptop. अब लैपटॉप में तुम्हारा probably 500 GB या 1 TB का स्टोरेज होगा. You will have 4 GB or 8 GB of RAM, ठीक है? But if you keep everything running in the same machine, DB भी वही है ना, and you have the back end as well, front end as well, everything is deployed in the same machine, and then you are running it. So scale नहीं कर पाएगा after some time. Probably अगर let's say कि your laptop goes into some issue, तो your entire application will go down. ठीक है, DB crash हो जाएगा. So that's why you should understand कि how we are able to हर चीजों को अलग अलग स्प्लिट कर सकते हैं कि वी कैन कीप डेटाबेस अलग, बैक एंड अलग, फ्रंट एंड के एप्लीकेशंस, क्लाइंट अलग. देन व्हाट इफ वी वांट टू हैंडल मोर अमाउंट ऑफ रिक्वेस्ट, तो कैसे लोड इंक्रीज करेगा. ठीक है, सो विल इंट्रोड्यूस डिफरेंट डेटाबेसेस. फिर डेटाबेसेस के अंदर यू शुड हैव अ आइडिया अबाउट कि सीक्वल डेटाबेसेस क्या होंगे, नो सीक्वल डेटाबेसेस क्या होंगे, व्हाट इज द लोड बैलेंसर, व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ अ कैशिंग, व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ अ मैसेजिंग क्यू, माइक्रो सर्विसेज. सो on a high level you should have this understanding. It is expected these days. ठीक है. And then the final part, जैसे कि data structures algorithms में होता है कि you will do mock interviews and everything. यहाँ पर भी you will have to do mock interviews. But in the design kind of interview round, mostly they ask you case studies. So what is a case study? So they'll ask you कि okay, design me the messaging app, or design an application which like a Geo, which can stream live videos for the IPL or something like that. So यहाँ पर you will have to understand and explain कि अच्छा क्या क्या चीजें हैं. So once if you know all the basic terms in the system design preparation ki acha this is the load balancer and the messaging queue and everything, so you will bring that knowledge to solve this case study problem. You will have to mention the protocols and everything, and this discussion will go really well if you have a really good understanding about the basics of the system design. And as you age, matlab jaise you grow in the industry, system design becomes a really really important aspect as you become an architect or as you become a senior engineer. Okay, even in the interviews. So this is about the design preparation. Now let's move to the behavioral preparation. So here, if I talk about the behavioral preparation, it's kind of not a very difficult round to be to crack. It's on the easier side. But if you have attitude issues, if you are not a team player, then you have to work on those things. Here, everything is focused on how good are you with your soft skills. So generally what happens is in these kind of interviews is you will be given a situational questions. Okay, tell me about a time when you had a conflict with your senior on a particular discussion. You were thinking to go with approach one, and your senior was willing to go with second approach, and he was not aligning with what approach you were suggesting. So how will you deal with this kind of a scenario? So this is a situational question. Probably it could be that you have not faced these kind of situations in your real life, but you cannot mention ki I have not faced this kind of situation, so I'll not answer it. So that is not expected. So what you can do over in these kind of scenarios, there is something called a star method. Okay, so star method means situation, task, action, and result. So here, if I take the previous example, so situation was there is a conflict between you and your senior engineer with respect to one of the approaches to solve a particular engineering problem for your product. Now, the task over here is that you have to deliver and code and deliver the product feature what is over there. So how will you try to get it resolved? So what did you do as an action? So you can mention ki when I was having this kind of a scenario with one of my senior engineer. So what I did was I set up a meeting with the entire team. I also looped in my architect and my manager in that call, so that we both, so that everybody from the team can come together and help us decide approach one and approach two, out of which is better. And I explained my thought process of why I was thinking that this approach will work. And even I asked my senior to explain his approach of why does he think his approach is better. And then finally, we discussed over this entire thing as a team. We brainstormed of all the edge cases and everything. And then at the end, it was decided that we will go with a third approach, which was kind of a mixture of the approach one and approach two. So that is the result, the outcome. So in this particular way, the star method comes in the picture. You have a situation, what are the tasks, what was the action taken, what is the outcome, what is the result. So here you can also take into consideration your past experiences. Probably you might have some experience of your past where you might have faced some challenges or some project challenges and everything. So you can talk about that. And the most crucial part is your communication. How clear, concise you are with the communication. How good are you with the listening? Your listening is also important over here, because it should not that the interviewer is asking something else and you are replying something else. So you should be good with the communication as well. Okay. So now let's move to the next slide, which is what happens during the interview. So this is when you are in the situation in the interview, and how do you tackle the interviewer. So the most important thing, and this is with respect to data structures algorithms, the entire scenario, but this also follows along all the different interviews, even in the coding scenario or the data or the design scenarios. Everywhere this works. So the best and the most important thing in the interview is to always think aloud. This is the most important thing. In the given 45 minutes to 60 minutes, you cannot keep quiet even for a minute or two. This is the deciding factor. You are the one who have to lead the entire conversation. The other person, the interviewer, is there because he has to make a decision to hire you or not. So you have to tell him everything. This is one of the really important thing you should do. Now, if we go step by step, so given a problem statement, understand the problem. What the interviewer is trying to ask you. Okay. Most of the time, I have seen that the folks will not read the problem properly. They will miss on the edge cases. They will not look on, acha, the problem is asking for this particular array, or this array can have these values, or iski limit itni hogi. And based on that, what happens? कि वो अपना approaches बता देते हैं. At the end में उनको पता चलता है कि यार ये तो था ही नहीं. So you have wasted your time. You should not do that. अगर कोई क्वेश्चन है, पूछ लो वहीं पे. आस्क ऑल द क्लैरिफाइंग क्वेश्चंस. एंड दिस इज ऑल्सो रियली रियली इंपॉर्टेंट कि तुम क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहे हो कि नहीं, तुम प्रॉब्लम अच्छे से समझ रहे हो कि नहीं. ठीक है. वाई? अगेन बिकॉज इन अ रियल सिनेरियो, जब तुम रियली में जाके वर्क कर रहे हो अदर इंजीनियर्स के साथ, एक वेग प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट आता है. इट्स नॉट अ वेरी क्लियर एंड क्रिस्प प्रॉब्लम. प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर आकर के बोल देंगे कि यू हैव टू डिजाइन दिस और यू हैव टू बिल्ड दिस फीचर. अब मेनी अ टाइम्स इट हैपेंस कि वो फीचर उस टाइम पे उस टाइमलाइन के अंदर बिल्ड करना ही फीजिबल नहीं है. प्रोबेबली योर प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर विल आस्क यू कि ये 1 महीने में कर दो, बट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सेटअप करने में प्रोबेबली 1 महीना लग जाए. So you cannot deliver it. So यहाँ पे understanding the problem statement, clarifying questions पूछना बहुत जरूरी है. And these are the things जो काफी ज्यादा इंटरव्यू में भी देखा जाता है कि हाँ, ये बंदे में ये स्किल्स है कि नहीं. ठीक है, ये बंदा ऐसे क्यूरियस है कि नहीं, क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहा है कि नहीं, वरना इसको जो भी दे देंगे वो एक्सेप्ट कर लेगा. वो नहीं होता है. ठीक है. देन द नेक्स्ट थिंग इज यू हैव टू प्लान योर सोल्यूशन. कि हाँ, जो सोल्यूशन है प्लान करो, सोचो क्या करना है. टेक द एग्जाम्पल, ट्राई टू डू इट, लेकिन थिंक अलाउड. हमेशा बात करते रहो, बोलते रहो क्या चीज कर रहे हो. ठीक है. एक बार यू आर देयर, ठीक है, कि हाँ, यू हैव कम अप विथ अ पर्टिकुलर सोल्यूशन, फिर धीरे धीरे यू कैन कम्युनिकेट कि हाँ, दिस इज माई अप्रोच, this is what I'm trying to do. Probably take an example, take 1 or 2 example and try to communicate what you are thinking कि मैं ऐसा ऐसा करूंगा. ठीक है. I'll do this step, then I'll do this step, then I'll do this step, and this is what I'm trying to do. Be in an agreement with the interviewer. पहले जाकर के कोड मत कर दो. Coding is the last step probably which you have to do. कम्युनिकेट कर लो अपना आइडियाज कि आई एम थिंकिंग ऑफ कि फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर सॉल्यूशन दिस इज काइंड ऑफ अ ऑर्डर ऑफ n स्क्वायर सॉल्यूशन. I can make it better. I can take it to order of n log n, or I can make it order of n. I'll use a hash map, or I'll use an extra space, and then this is how I will optimize on the time and space complexity. Okay, once you have communicated your ideas, now the interviewer is in sync with you. You can ask his permission ki, hey, if we both are aligned on this solution, can I go ahead and code it out? If he will have any issues over there, he will mention it ki, can you reiterate on your example? Probably I think that does not work for a couple of scenarios. Edge cases miss कर दिए हैं, ठीक है? So he will help you there itself, and then you will not be in trouble कि पूरा कोड लिख दिया and then उसके बाद figure out कर रहे हैं bugs. Once you are in agreement, फिर go ahead and write code. Now when you write code, it should be clean code. It should be proper production level code. वैसे variables मत use करो, ABCD, XYZ, test नहीं use करो. Write properly what is given. ठीक है, अगर in your problem it has been given array of bananas, so जब iterate कर रहे हो, take banana instead of X or Y, because you know कि क्या चीज expected है. It gives you brownie points for sure if someone is writing a really good clean code, production level code. It gives you brownie point for sure. And also फॉलो प्रॉपर इंडेंटेशन. क्या होता है कि मोस्ट ऑफ द कंपनीज के, जब तुम टेक कंपनीज के इंटरव्यू लोगे, दे विल गिव यू अ कोड पैड, दे विल गिव यू अ गूगल डॉक और समथिंग लाइक दैट, जहां पे यू विल नॉट हैव अ आईडी टू कोड जो कि तुम्हारा फॉर्मेटिंग का ध्यान रखेगा. तो हियर मेक श्योर यू आर डूइंग द इंडेंटेशन प्रॉपरली. व्हाई इट इज रिक्वायर्ड? क्योंकि इंटरव्यूअर के लिए चीजें आसान बनाओ. ठीक है, वी एज अ इंजीनियर्स मोस्टली आर इनटू पैटर्न्स. ठीक है, अब कोड दिखता है तो वी जस्ट स्कैन द कोड, वी डोंट रीड इट लाइन बाय लाइन. अब अगर तुम इंडेंटेशन नहीं बनाओगे, इट्स लाइक अ पेन पॉइंट कि एक एक लाइन पढ़ना पड़ रहा है. नाउ ही इज एबल टू स्कैन इट, सो मेक इट इजी फॉर द इंटरव्यूअर. ओके, that's how you write a clean code with proper indentation. एक बार कोड कर दिया, ठीक है, टेस्ट योर कोड. नेवर से कि हाँ दिस कोड इज डन एंड आई विल सबमिट इट. नो, वंस यू हैव डन रिटन योर कोड, टेस्ट करो उसको. फिर से एक एग्जांपल लो, उस पर ड्राई रन करो. मेक श्योर यू हैव नॉट मिस्ड एनी एज केसेस. अगर मिस किया था, टेल इट आउट, थिंक अलाउड अगेन. ठीक है, कि आई एम टेकिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर एग्जांपल एट दिस स्टेज, आई एम iterating over in this particular for loop. Here I'll get the first value and then I'm doing a sorting, I'm storing it in the map. Keep continuously talking, never stop even for a minute. If you feel कि कोड थोड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स हो रहा है ना, कमेंट्स भी मेंशन कर सकते हो थोड़ा बहुत कि अच्छा हियर आई एम डूइंग समथिंग लाइक दिस. ट्राई टू कीप इट मॉड्यूलर, कमेंट ऐड कर दिया, सो that it becomes always, make it easy for the interviewer to understand. तुम्हारे अंडरस्टैंडिंग को इंटरव्यूअर के अंडरस्टैंडिंग में कन्वर्ट करना है. अर्लियर इट यूज्ड टू बी इजी बिकॉज द इंटरव्यूज यूज्ड टू हैपन इन पर्सन. वहां पे यू विल बी गिवन अ व्हाइट बोर्ड एंड वहां पे कोड करना होता था. सो दैट वाज रियली इजी टू एक्सप्लेन, समझ आ जाता था व्हाट द फोक इज डूइंग बिकॉज यू बोथ आर इन द सेम रूम. अभी थिंग्स आर ऑनलाइन, यू हैव टू डू इट इन अ जूम कॉल और इन अ Google Meet. So वहां पे you have to make an extra effort कि इंटरव्यूअर को समझ आ रहा है. ठीक है, so this is one of the thing. Now the last part is थोड़ा enthusiasm दिखाओ. Many of the time I see कि कैंडिडेट आते हैं ऐसे मुंह लटका हुआ रहता है, they are not at all energetic, ऐसा लगता है फालतू में बुला लिया है. ठीक है, so show some enthusiasm कि you really want this. ठीक है, why? Because again interviewer जो है तुम्हारा, he is already doing his work. ठीक है, एंड जनरली इन द इंटरव्यूज फोक्स आर नॉट कॉम्पेंसेटेड कि उनको एक्स्ट्रा काम के पैसे नहीं मिल रहे हैं. सो दे आर ऑलरेडी वरीड अबाउट कि उनकी डेडलाइंस मिस हो रही है. ठीक है, उनके प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं वो करने हैं एंड उसके अलावा भी 1 घंटा वो इधर दे रहा है. सो इफ यू कम अप विथ अ सैड फेस कि थोड़ा अलग ही चौड़ में हो, इट डज नॉट हेल्प. शो दैट एंथुजियाज्म, थोड़ा एक्टिवली इंगेज करो, है ना. एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, स्टे काम. इवन द प्रॉब्लम कि नहीं हो रहा है, ठीक है, हाउ टू डू इट, नहीं क्लिक कर रहा है, कैसे करेंगे, स्टे काम. ट्राई टू फॉलो द प्रोसेस, ड्राई रन करो. ठीक है, थिंक क्लियरली, आस्क क्वेश्चंस, अंडरस्टैंड द प्रॉब्लम, इट विल क्लिक. सो दिस इज मोस्टली अबाउट ड्यूरिंग द इंटरव्यू क्या करना चाहिए. आई होप इट वाज क्लियर. नाउ I'll tell you some of the final tips for the entire preparation. Again, mastering the data structures and algorithms is important. Okay? You cannot skip it. Even for a fresher till to a experienced, even for me, if I go for an interview, I'll be asked a round of data structures algorithms for sure. Skip nahi kar sakte. You have to do it. Practicing the coding problems regularly. Again, I am highlighting this because consistency is the key. You cannot outshine if you are not consistently trying to solve a problem. So it is really, really important. Then the last part is the system design concepts and everything, whatever you should understand on a high level and a low level, what a system will look like. The last part is do a lot of mock interviews. For this, you can go ahead and sign up on multiple platforms or take some mentorship. The mentor can help you to how to take a mock interview. You can reach out to me. I'll be able to help you with that. And then have patience. It's probably if you're not able to clear the round, it's not your day. Okay, so have patience. You will be able to do it. You don't have to worry on that part कि नहीं हो रहा है मेरे से. It will happen for sure. थोड़ा टाइम लग जाएगा, आज नहीं कल हो जाएगा, but it will happen. Just keep sure that you are showing up and practicing daily. And if I talk about the final, the resources, so the resources, if I share, so these are the couple of the popular resources for the entire preparation I have added. YouTube is one of the most popular choice these days. So everybody, you can just search for a keyword data structures, yeah, design, yeah, problem statement, sab milega udhar. Lead code is the popular choice again for the data structures algorithm preparation. For low level design ke liye, there is this course or on the educative grokking the low level design. You can refer this and a combination of this book, Head First Design Patterns. So a combination of both of these things is killer. You will be able to crack the interviews. यहाँ पे तुमको खूब सारे case studies मिल जाएंगे. In this book, you will get familiar with the design patterns and it will help you. If you want to start with system design, Web Scalability for Startup Engineer is the first book I would recommend कि यहाँ से पढ़ना start करो. If you are beginner, this is the best book. After that, for interviews, you can just go with the Alex Zhu book, System Design Interview. This is really a popular book. And once you have a grip, then you can move to this popular red book, which is the Designing Data Intensive Applications. So these are the popular scenarios. I know there are so many courses and everybody in the ed tech is making and publishing courses. If you have that amount of time and money, go and spend it over there. If not, these are the resources which I have referred and I still suggest, and this can help you guys as well. So that's all. These are my handles. If you want to email, you can email me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter. And thank you. If you have any
Uh,
questions, I can answer.
Manish, if you're comfortable, you can share your like handles on the chat as well. I think people can connect with you after the session if they want to. Most essentially, I think the LinkedIn one because if they want to approach you for mentorship, I think they can do that from there. Uh, yeah, I think we can start with the Q&A. We'll address a quick few questions that came in during the session. So one, I think we've already covered, but yeah, still reiterating which platform is best for daily practicing is in programming.
So as I mentioned, there are so many platforms as of now which you can look for. Key, but the best choice as of now remains the same. It is lead code. It's the popular choice for the programmers in the entire community. So lead code, hands down, no nothing to look on that. You can go ahead and practice with lead code. There are 2000 plus problems, and probably you just need to solve 200 to 300 problems depending upon how much of effort you are willing to put, and that will be good with you. Yeah.
Okay. Another question is regarding the communications part, right? So is there any tips and suggestions that you have to improve that communications?
Yes. So for the communication, if I talk about, there are two kinds of communication that you have to practice. The first is during a tech interview where you are doing or solving a coding problem. So one of the tip for there is when you try to solve, like probably you are solving 2 problems a day or 3 problems a day. What I'd ask you is to record your entire screen with your audio and do a kind of self mock interview. Okay, try to solve a problem by speaking, considering that you are in a interview situation and you have to explain it, and then watch the recording after you have solved that problem. You will be able to see the gaps कि कहाँ पर मैं मिस कर रहा हूँ, कहाँ मैंने अच्छे से समझाया नहीं है. Because when we do it on our own, हमें लगता है कि हमने तो अपना बेस्ट दिया था, but it does not happen that way. And the second part is when you go for the behavioral round, जब तुम engineering managers के साथ interact करते हो. So at that point of time, you have to have a storytelling kind of approach कि in this project I have worked on these things. थोड़ा सा अच्छे से you should be able to explain. So probably try to condense your experiences. उसको एक Google Doc में लिखो. You can use ChatGPT for now कि you have these pointers. Try to build me a story on that. ठीक है, उसको validate करो. Don't spit out what ChatGPT has shared. Try to narrate it. Try to practice it in a way कि वो तुम्हारे लिए comfortable हो जाए so that you can share that. That's how you should go with the communication approach in the tech interview process.
Okay. The next question is related to Devin and AI. So, is that going to have a serious impact on the job market for freshers?
Okay, so for freshers or anybody, if I say so, Devin AI or any of the AIs of now that is out there, they are really good. They are becoming better as well. And even as of now, in the companies, even at PayPal and the different orgs, our leadership is asking us to use those tools to make our work, day-to-day work, easy. So even I'm using a paid subscription of a Gemini in my day-to-day work, and that helps a lot. So with the uh, random or boring tasks which probably will eat my time and effort, and I know what have to be done and how it has to be done. But can we rely on those things? The answer is no, because even if today whatever the code is generated by the Gemini or the GPT, it's not 100% accurate. You have to monitor it. You have to have a review of it, because it will have some mistakes. It will not follow the coding standard or the coding practice which you are following in your team. Okay, so in short, it won't replace your job, but definitely it will help you to become a better developer. So that's how you should also see it, and don't get scared by the Devin AI or anything.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, apart, is there any other questions? I think we've addressed the questions that have already come in during the session. So, is there any other question someone wants to ask? You can unmute yourself and go ahead. आप अनम्यूट करके अपने सवाल पूछ सकते हैं अगर आपको कोई और डाउट है, कुछ आप क्लैरिफाई करना चाहते हैं तो. Okay. Is there any tips that you can share, Manish, regarding web development?
Okay, so web development overall, if you guys see, तो उसके multiple domains हो गए हैं, ठीक है. It's not just the web development. If you try to deep dive into it, there is front end engineering, there is a back end engineering, then the entire set of DevOps, okay, and then machine learning and AI is also a part of it. So everything is interrelated over here. But if you start as a fresher, okay, if you are a total beginner out from college, or you are just wanting to switch to the IT industry and try to become a web developer, it's easy for you to get started with the front end engineering aspect of it. Why? Because you have to learn their HTML, CSS, the basic, how you can create a web page, a bit of JavaScript. Try to do around a couple of projects on just pure HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and try to see if you're liking it or not. Then if you feel comfortable making those apps, try to bring a framework or a React library, okay, or an Next.js or whatever is trending in the market. Usually every 6 months there is something, some new library is there in the market, so you can go in that route. If you feel after 2 week or after 1 month or 2 month, yeah, front end engineering is something which I don't enjoy a lot, I want to explore something else, you can do that. You can probably try to explore the backend side of it. How does the backend engineering looks like? So probably you can get started with Java. You can or you can get started with Node.js. Node.js. So you can pick anything of your choice. Try to create some APIs. If you pick with Java, then you can start with the Spring Boot framework as of now. That holds a wide market as of now. Most of the companies, the big techs, are using Java Spring Boot, and they're really doing good. So there is a lot of requirement for the Java developers as well. For now, there are many open positions if you go ahead and look for, even in the service-based company, in the product-based companies. So you can explore that part. If you want to get into the next step, probably you can go ahead with the languages like Golang or Rust. So these are the next trending languages, so you can learn into those. If you feel this is something which does not work for you, you can go into the DevOps space. You can learn about Docker, Kubernetes, AWS, GCP, cloud, everything, and that is your thing. So the idea is, if you don't have any preferences for now and you want to get started, pick anything, either front end, back end, DevOps, and try to give a month or two in it and see if you are comfortable doing it or not. If you don't feel comfortable, move to the next one. It's like a buffet. The entire IT industry is a buffet. There is a lot of things and you cannot have it all. Okay. Because as you age, you are paid for your expertise that you bring to the team. As a fresher, you are the guy who can be given any task and you have to do it. So that is how you should try to take and get started. So for web development, get started with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Just go with the flow. That's it.
Yeah. I think we missed out on one question earlier, which is regarding data analyst, right? So what approach they can take. So Manish, in addition to what suggestions you have for him, just wanted to add one more thing. Kailash, we did a session on data analyst roles and how to improve at it a couple of days ago. So those session recordings you can also check out. I'll quickly add the link to our website. You can check out all the past sessions that we have done, and we did do a couple of sessions fully dedicated to data analyst role. So you can check out those as well. But yeah, over to you, Manish, if you have any suggestions that you want to add.
Yes. So, just if you focus about the data analyst kind of a role, these are the kind of roles where, as a point of interview, you have to focus on three things. One is you should be good with one of the query languages like SQL. That's the first thing. The second thing you have to look for is Excel. Excel is very popularly used, so that is something which you have to know. And the third thing, any tool like Power BI or Tableau, for which you can use to uh, make some dashboards and everything. So these are the aspects where you have to work. Now, the kind of work that you do over here in the data analyst role, it's kind of, you are the person who will have to talk to the clients directly. So your communication has to be really good. In the interviews, probably you will be given a situation based scenario, and then you will be asked how you will go ahead and do the analytics on top of that. So probably the problem statement can be there is a McDonald's in your area, or probably in Bangalore, Kormangla, and the sales of that McDonald has dropped from the last 6 months, and they are not making the same amount of money what they were making 6 months back. You have to solve this particular problem as a data analyst. So will be a kind of a case study for you in this kind of a role. Data analyst, business analyst, all of these kind of similar roles. So here what they look for is, how good are you with understanding the data, right? So how will you approach this kind of problem is that you will see what are different aspects where I can first collect the data, then only I can make an analysis. So you will ask them ki, acha, what is the month when we are seeing this drop? Is it in the month of May, June probably, or what is the this particular time? Is it when the companies, what is the nearby location? What are the number of visitors that they used to visit before, and what is the number now? Then you will predict with tell some of the situation. Ki what has happened recently? What is the impact that has happened? Is it ki folks have moved to their hometown and companies are giving remote? So now there used to be a tech park just beside this McDonald. Now hardly companies are over there, so employees are not coming, and that's why it is impacting their sales. So you just have to think it out loud again. the scenarios, and you have to make a set of 10 to 12 assumptions ki, acha, these are the scenarios that could be, and you have to collect data for each of them. Once you have the data, you are sure कि हाँ अच्छा ये चीजें हैं, ये सारे पैरामीटर्स हैं जो मुझे देखने चाहिए, then you can make some analytics on top of that. पर इसको करने के लिए again अब तुम मैकडोनल्ड से मांगोगे, so what they will do, उनके पास एक एक्सेल होगा, वो एक्सेल they will give you कि देखो ये था मेरे numbers. So you should be good with analyzing the Excel and everything. You should be good with कि कितना अच्छे से you are comfortable with lookup and everything on Excel. ठीक है, फिर उसका जब प्रेजेंट करोगे तो क्लाइंट डज नॉट अंडरस्टैंड नंबर्स एंड ऑल, उसको एक ग्राफ बना के दिखाना पड़ेगा, यू हैव टू मेक अ डैशबोर्ड आउट ऑफ इट, राइट? सो पावर बीआई यूज करोगे, टैबल्यू यूज करोगे, या फिर जो भी कंपनी का इंटरनल टूल्स है, यू विल यूज दैट, एंड वहां पर यू विल क्रिएट द डैशबोर्ड एंड दैट विल बी पिच्ड. So that is how you should approach these kind of rounds, data analytics.
Yeah, I think with that we have covered all the questions that were there. In case we missed out any, we can definitely address them maybe in later sessions, or we'll have sessions like these in the future as well. Do share your feedback. You can add these questions in the feedback so that we can pick it up later. I've also added the link to Manish's LinkedIn profile. So if you want to connect with him, maybe on a one-on-one basis later, ask some questions, get clarified, get a mentorship from him, you can do connect with him later on as well. But yeah, for today, I think we are at a time, and we'll move towards the conclusion of the session. So quickly adding a few things towards the very end. Manish, if you want to add something, maybe we can do that first, and then I'll say the concluding words.
No, that's all from my end. Nothing more to
Okay.
add. So everybody, it was great sharing my knowledge with you.
Yeah.
If anyone is interested working with me, if you want, a guidance with respect to how to tackle the interviews and everything, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. We will figure something out, and then we can work together as well. So everybody is welcome.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thanks a lot, Manish. So yeah, firstly, starting with a huge thank you to everyone who came for the session and made this a successful one. Huge thank you to Manish as well for giving your valuable time and helping our community, helping the people who needed this guidance to crack interviews for technical rounds, especially people who are starting their career. We have a lot of freshers here who need this guidance to clear interviews. So huge thank you, Manish, for sharing your expert advice here. Uh, Everyone who's been present on this call, I've shared the feedback link. Do share your valuable feedback, your thoughts with us. We'd love to understand what other sessions you want us to hold, what ways in which we can improve these sessions. If there's any other feedback, general feedback that you want to share, do that on that link itself. Apart from just helping us improve, it will also allow us to improve, like allow us to invite you for other sessions, because I saw a lot of people here came in for the very first session, although we've been doing these sessions for almost last 2 to 3 months now. So if you do fill in these feedback forms, we'll be able to invite you for future sessions as well. And we host these sessions almost on a regular basis. Like we have a session tomorrow as well. We'll have a session on Friday as well. So do make sure to stay in touch with us. Stay in touch on Apna Community as well. This is where we announce most of our events. We also announce them on our website, so you can register from both places. And yeah, hope to see everyone on the next session. And a very good night. And thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.